Welcome to Mamahood After Trauma. I'm Emily, your host. Here we share strategies and inspiration to help you heal and grow with kindness and understanding. Let's dive in. This is Mamahood After Trauma. Hey there, Mama. Before we dive in, I want to remind you to grab your Unlocking Peace Guide, a free resource designed to help you start creating calm, reclaim your peace, and manage your triggers with ease. Head over to my website, the link is in the show notes, to download it now. Hello, Mama, and welcome to this very special episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. Today, we are joined by a special guest host. I'm going to take the seat of interviewee, and Victoria from A Contagious Smile is going to be the host. So welcome, my friend.
Hello, my beautiful friend.
Back
How are
to
you?
the podcast. You've been on the podcast before. So
Yes,
welcome.
thank you. Thank you. And let me thank you so much for letting me do this. What an honor. Your 200th episode. That's amazing.
I know it's mind-blowing, really.
Yes, I remember years ago and you were way back, in the beginning stages of it and look how you've just flourished. Congratulations to you. And thank you
Oh,
again for this amazing opportunity.
well, thank you for being here. It's when I was thinking about when I looked at the calendar and was like, "Whoa, I'm going to be publishing 200 episodes in November. How do I want to do this?" And then I spoke to Alex Sanfilippo. I was like, "How do you like I never imagined that I would be publishing episode 200. Like there was no forethought, like no
Right?
dream. Like if we get there, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, how do I ring this in? He's like, why don't you have somebody be a guest host? And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And then immediately you came to mind.
Oh.
So thank you for saying yes.
Of course, this is such an honor. Yeah, I remember when we hit our 200th episode, we're about to hit 400, and it was like, oh, it's such a big deal. Every one of them is a big deal. Every podcast is special and has such a
Yeah.
special meaning to it. But to know that not only are you in the same um, wheelhouse that I am, I hate to say the same fight because I don't like that word, but to be in the same wheelhouse of helping people who've gone through what we've been through and to be asked to do this is amazing because you are a force to be reckoned with. And so then to have the honor of interviewing you is even more amazing. And we've talked about doing some collaboration work, which I think is so imperative to helping other people who feel like they're in a situation of being lost and they don't know where to go or where to turn, which I know you and
Mhm.
I both been there and I didn't have anyone. I had no idea where to even look. And to have two strong women, two strong mamas that are going to be like, here, let us give you a hand and help bring you back to where you belong because you matter is so absolutely important because there's not enough of that in this world now.
No, there isn't. And when I look back, I really didn't know where to go or what to do. I was in the thick of my first round of postpartum, and I was searching and searching and searching, and I knew that I didn't want to give my daughter the childhood that I had, but I didn't know how to
Absolutely.
do that because
Right.
the childhood that I had was normal to me,
Yeah, 'cause that's all you
really
knew.
not normal, but normal to me. And there were resources for, there was like therapy resources for that type of thing. And I've got trauma from therapy. So I wasn't at that point willing to go that route again.
Right.
And there was like postpartum, but nothing about trauma informed parenting, like understanding how your trauma response or your survival response is going to or already is impacting how you parent. It
Right.
changes everything. And so part of my mission is making healing possible regardless of what your bank statement says.
Exactly.
Because,
That's why we align so well, is we both have that mentality.
yeah, because not everyone is in the financial position to pay 75, 100, 200, $300 per session
Right.
for a, pardon me, a qualified trauma informed therapist. And depending upon where you are in the world, wait lists for government funded programs are crazy long.
Yeah,
And then there's always the issue of getting a therapist who is trauma informed because not all are.
that's correct. 100% correct. And what really also, I want to piggyback on that, it irritates me so much is like, I don't like how insurance is more so not structured in the favor of this because when you've gone through this, for instance, if you try to get into a reputable therapist right now, it's going to be almost impossible. And then everybody's trying to use their benefits by the end of the year. So people are trying to do that. And then to get into a new one could be, oh, well, I'm working with a wonderful lady right now. And she said, I've tried to find a trauma therapist who works with trauma
Mm-hmm.
survivors. And they're saying their earliest opening is in May of next year. And it's like,
Yeah.
what? But then when they meet you, they're like, well, you must not be really having such a difficult problem because you waited 7 months to get in to see me. So it must not be that bad. And it's like, you know what? Kudos to you for learning to read a book and take your exams and all of that. I've done that. I've got all the certificates and degrees and diplomas and all that too. But I do it from a trauma survival perspective
Yeah.
because I've been there, I know it, and it's a totally different thing. And some people like the mentality of someone who's learned out of a book, and I'm not taking away from for a minute. That's why people like
No.
chocolate, vanilla, mint chocolate, chocolate chip, whatever. But the problem is, I'd rather go to someone who unfortunately has been through it because they understand, they get it.
Get it.
And I don't want someone to say to me, like when they're trying to get out of a situation, I have $100 in the bank. I'm not going to charge you $97 to sit down and have a course with me for an hour when you need to feed your kids. You need to put gas in that car to keep yourself
Yeah.
safe. You need a roof over your head, right? We've already paid the ultimate price. And so
Mm-hmm.
we need to be able to help each other as women, as moms, stand up and unite together because even growing up, we both have such a similar, upbringing. But I was lucky to have my grandparents. Is the fact that like it's well, why did you go no contact from your parents? That's your mom. Well, why don't you,
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking at me like so many people do when someone, I hate the word victim, when they go to it, and we have to constantly prove our truth. But you know what? When you've been through it, lies tear us apart, but the truth horrifically ratifies the abuser because that is like, how do they do that? Then they have to spin a web of all sorts of deceit to try to cover it up and make the person that they attacked, look even worse. And it's supposed to be, innocent till proven guilty. Emily, it's not like that at all. They attack us on the stand, why didn't you just do what they needed? Why didn't you, do this? Why did you make them mad? And that's not the way that it is. We could do everything verbatim to the T, to the letter. Somebody cuts them off in traffic. Somebody, does something to them at work, and we're still their playground when they get back. Whether it's our parents, our partner, whoever it is, that's how this happens every single time. And that's why everybody needs more people like you and I, because we're out there on the forefront saying, we get it, we've been there, we understand it. Let us show you that you are worth this. You are worth more, and you're going to come out even better than before because they chip away at you. And then
Mm-hmm.
you hear something every single day, you begin to believe it. Like if you
Yep.
hear from your child, I love you, mommy, I love you, mommy, I love you, mommy, you know your child loves you. But when you have a parent like you and I
Mm-hmm.
both have that tell you we're worthless and we're never going to amount to anything, that stays with us. And then that's what we believe because that's what we've heard from the people who are supposed to help prepare us for the next phase of life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I say more often than anything is we should not spend our adulthood recovering from our childhood.
No.
So,
No. And
as
one of the things that I remember, I think it was like 6 or 7, walking across the parking lot of my child psychologist's office. And I remember thinking to myself, someday I want to help kids like me because little kids don't deserve to have a mommy or a daddy who don't know how to love them.
right,
But that mommy and daddy who don't know how to love their kid were once a kid with a mommy or daddy who didn't know how to love them.
and that's how you learn to break the cycle.
And that's where the cycle breaks.
100%. So, as the person hosting with honors today, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the inner you of what you've endured and overcome and conquered because you have conquered it all and your mission is strong, as are you, and tell everybody a little bit more about the Emily they may not know and only get glimpses of.
Okay, so if we're going back to my origin story. Um, I was I was the third child my mother had. Um, and she chose to not raise me. She very early on in my life decided that she was going to um, forfeit her parental rights. I ended up with my paternal grandparents, although I'm told that there was a family who wanted to adopt me, and that's a whole other thing. Um, and I was raised by my paternal grandparents until my dad got married when I was 6. And at that point in my life, I was daddy's little girl. I loved my daddy. I still love my daddy. Um, although things now are more complicated um, because of our history. And it didn't take very long before we realized that that was a really bad decision. I was abused in all of the ways by my stepmom and my stepbrother. And during that 18-month period that I lived with my dad, my stepmom, and my stepbrother, I wasn't allowed to stay home. Um, I was a 6 and 7 year old little girl who learned survival.
Not childhood.
Yeah, I I learned how to play with my Barbies and also be aware of everything else going on. And I wasn't allowed to stay home on weekends. I was only allowed to eat what my stepmom put on my plate. Um, I I actually can't look at pictures of me from this time period because I I was forced to have my hair cut into a mushroom cut. I think mid 90s. If you are a product of the 2000s and you never experienced the mid 90s, um, it just Google mushroom cut and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Google the mushroom hair.
Mushroom hair, yeah. um, and on weekends, I was, depending upon the weekend, it rotated between my biological mom's house, an aunt, and my grandparents. So one Sunday afternoon, evening, I was at my mom's house. It was November, probably 6 weeks before Christmas. And my mom told me to go get my stuff ready to go. And something inside of my 7 year old head clicked. And I decided that I was not going back to live in that house. And it was really snowy and cold. And my mom lived in the middle of nowhere next to the ocean. So, where was I really going to go as a 7 year old malnourished little child? My best plan that I could come up with was to hide in my sister's room under her big wooden desk and put my bag in front of me. And I played the best game of hide and seek I have ever played in my life. And that night, once my mom did find me, eventually, took her a while, but she did find me. I went back to live with my paternal grandparents, and life went back to normal. Only Emily wasn't normal anymore. I wasn't the little girl that I was 18 months previous. I had learned skills and adopted narratives that weren't mine, um, that were made for survival and to keep you small, to keep you invisible.
Keep you hidden.
Um, and I learned very early on to not talk about it.
Mm.
Let's push it down because we don't talk about the hard things. We don't talk about the repression or the hard things. We repress it. We push it down. We ignore
Yeah.
it. We
Yeah.
avoid it. And so that led to a lot of depression and anxiety and gut health problems and infertility eventually until I became a mama, really. My my teens and my early 20s was push it down, don't feel it, run away from it, like physically, geographically running away from it, as if the trauma that I had endured was only a geographical place on a map. And it felt back then, it felt like no matter where I went or no matter what I did, I had this black cloud looming over my head. And I would go, I went to my high school guidance counselor, I went to a therapist on my university campus, and both were not trauma informed and basically said, Emily, you need to get over this. You need to move on. And looking back on that now, as a trauma informed educator, advocate for trauma surviving mamas, that statement of you need to get over it, you need to move on, is so detrimental. It causes so much damage. Because what I learned a few years ago about myself is that the trauma that I had endured and the black cloud that I found looming over my head was complex PTSD. When eventually, when I mustered the courage enough, because I was scared for a really long time to go and tell someone, because there were so many sources in my life telling me that I was the problem. And the problem was with me. And it took me a really long time to go to my doctor and say, something's not right. Like I'm fighting a battle every single day just to stay upright in a
Yeah.
good place for my kids.
Hmm.
And it's hard. And she goes, Emily, your ACEs score is just about off the map. And
Now, before you go any further, not to cut you off, tell people what the ACEs score is because a lot of people might not know what that is.
so the ACEs score is an assessment basically of adverse childhood experiences. And it's a great way to kind of benchmark what your experience is have what kind of mark your experiences in childhood have left. However, for me, I had adverse childhood experiences that are not on the ACEs questionnaire. And so for me, it gave us a good starting place, but then there's the and
Right.
after the fact.
Right.
So I've, over the last few years, behind the scenes of producing the podcast and speaking to so many incredible guests and healers and warrior mamas, I've been working on getting my CPTSD under control
Good for you.
because I think the thing that is really important for people to understand is that complex PTSD, or, well, yeah, complex PTSD means that your brain, when it was developing as a child, developed differently. So I may not be neurospicy in that I have ADHD or autism or something like that. However, complex PTSD makes me neurospicy or neurodivergent. And when I was able to look at that and understand the developmental differences in my brain compared to a typical, normal functioning brain, and then look at everything I had accomplished, I couldn't argue with myself. It put the belief of I'm stupid, I'm not going to make anything of myself to rest.
Hmm.
There's no merit to that anymore. And I talk about in my first book, Rising from the Ashes, testing your beliefs and looking for evidence. Like sometimes your brain will lie to you.
Yes.
A lot of the times your brain will lie to you, especially if you've got a lot of trauma and complex PTSD. And that was evidence to me that couldn't, it was undeniable. And so that's a little bit of what's been going on behind the scenes, where I've come from, my origin story. And every day showing up behind the mic and producing the podcast. Friends, we got to 200 episodes and it's just me, myself, and I. So, and the podcast so far, things are going to change. I'm going to share something special with you in a little bit.
I was going to ask
Um,
if we get a little tidbit.
um, the podcast has been very one sided because you tune in, I produce the episode, I have the conversation with the guest, or
Mhm.
I produce the solo episode. You, I publish it, and you listen, and that's as far as it goes, unless you follow me on social media or something. And the next phase of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast is going to be more community focused.
You gonna share anymore? Come
Let's
on.
let's 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 talk a little bit more.
Okay.
I will. I have a special announcement, but I want to talk a little bit more.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I have known you for a few years, and I've seen such amazing growth in you in those a couple of years already. I mean, you have flourished in so many ways. You should be so proud of yourself. I mean, seriously, and I say that from the depth of my soul and heart. You should be so proud of everything you're doing and accomplished and who you are. Your children should be so proud of you. I know that they are because you're a force to be reckoned with. And I know at a point in time, years and years ago, you didn't feel that way at all.
No, and if I can be really honest with you, I still don't feel that way.
I know that. I can see that. But I see it. I see how far you've come. And you know what? You can't see it in yourself that often because you're used to seeing yourself only one way. Like I admit wholeheartedly, I have body dysphoria. I'd be the
Oh, me
first to
too.
put
Yeah.
it in. It's horrible. I buy clothes, if I buy clothes, and they're like 3 or 4 sizes too big. I have no idea what size I wear. I wear clothes that I could wear if I was 9 months pregnant with quadruplets. Like they're the clothes I wear are so big. And my husband's a big guy, and he'd be like, you buy clothes bigger than me. He's 6'3" and he's like 260. And he's, used to be a cop and he's like this big muscular guy. And I would buy stuff bigger than him. And he's like, do you want me to get in that with you? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish here? And it's the body dysphoria. And it's because what we've heard all the time. Like I
Yep.
would hear, oh, you look like Freddy Krueger and the Elephant Man had a baby. That's what I would hear, about me and all my scars. Oh, and, oh, take a Sharpie and, you know, put all your scars together. You'll be busy for hours. And who would want somebody like you? And you hear that every single day. And one of the most important things is to help take care of yourself. And I'm guilty of it because I don't do it enough. I know you don't do it enough. And it's so important that we do that. We have to do it. We have to because I see you and I know you and you're a beautiful person inside and out, but you're even more beautiful inside and it portrays itself more on the outside and it shows who you really are and the heart that you have and the care that you have and how you want to go out and help as many people as you can and you've helped so many. And I don't think that your listeners really get to see the beautiful Emily from within because you're always trying to help others with your guest and other things of that nature. That's why I was so excited when you asked me to do this because I was like, well, she gets upset with me. I'll say I'm sorry. But it's the fact that I see the beauty within, and your listener should really see it and hear it because it's in there. It really is.
Yeah. Um, I've been on a journey for a long time with my health. Um, as I mentioned before, I struggled with infertility at the beginning of, I guess that was 2017-ish, 2016, 2017, when my husband and I decided to try and start our family. And it wasn't until um, growing up in my teens, let me backtrack a minute. I believed that my body hated me because of all of the physical health things that I was dealing with. But it wasn't until I sat down with a naturopath who is willing and able to listen to my story and explain to me how my stress response was causing my entire body to live in survival mode.
Hmm.
And over the last year or so, I've been tracking uh, some of the components in my blood labs, and my body is screaming at me. I'm not to the point of autoimmune disease or anything like that yet, but my body is screaming at me. It's the physiological manifestation of chronic stress and trauma that is
Yes.
happening within my body. So it it doesn't matter to me if you can see if the bruises or bumps are visible. If you have lived through a traumatic past, a traumatic childhood, it goes so much deeper than physical cuts and scrapes and bruises and bumps. It impacts every single part of who you are.
Every aspect.
every aspect. So now I am on a journey to reduce the inflammation that's happening in my body because I don't want it to get to the point of autoimmune disease. And so um, recently on my social media and to my email list, I told them that I was stepping back from coaching, and that's not because I don't love coaching. I totally do love coaching. I love to help people. I love to see people overcome. And I'm focusing more on the podcast. That will give me the opportunity and the time to take more care and better care of myself. And part of healing is having a community. And that's why I truly love our friendship, Victoria, because you get it. Um, I am me, myself, and I in the production of the podcast, but you are my podcast friend who really gets it, both in front of the mic and away from the mic. And so when I started Mamahood After Trauma, the one thing that I really wanted to create was an authentic community. And the podcast has played a huge role in that, but I want to take it deeper. We're 200 episodes in. I want to go deeper. So, starting in January, I don't want to start something new in the holiday season. It's too crazy with with everything going
Yes,
on.
it is.
Um, so starting in January, I am starting a mail out newsletter with a a nervous system recovery tool. So this is more than just a newsletter. It is, it goes into my mission of making healing accessible for everyone, no matter what your bank statement says. And I don't know about you, but I love getting letter mail, especially when it's not a bill
Right?
from
Which
a
nobody does
friend.
anymore.
Yeah. And then along with that, to go hand in hand with that, I'm launching a private Patreon community for those people who are um, opted into the monthly peace packs. So that's what I'm calling my newsletter. A monthly peace pack, you get a newsletter once a month with a nervous system recovery tool that you can use and implement. Try it out for a month, see how it works, see if it works for you because everybody is different. Um, and then build out your trigger toolbox as time goes on. And as we grow, um, I'm sure different things will be added, but this is step one, completely free. Um, so yeah, that's my announcement. That's what I wanted to share with everyone. So I will be sure to put the link in the show notes so that
Yes.
if you want to um, get be the first, make sure that you're on the list for the January mail out.
No
Um,
kidding.
yeah, make sure you're on the list for the January mail out. It's not an email. Email is great. It's really convenient. You can access it just about anywhere, but there's also a level of disconnect and impersonalness um, to it. So I love my email list and I will still be emailing the people on my email list, but the mailing list is another level of connection that we can foster together. So that's what I wanted to share with everybody to celebrate 200
Sure.
episodes of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. Let's go deeper. Let's be like friends.
Yes, that's amazing. And you're doing it free?
Yeah, I'm going to start free and then
Wow.
we'll evolve from there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I love getting stuff in the mail, but it's like, okay, no, no, or they're offered, oh, it's
Yeah.
whatever. Like, ugh, no, no. But then you're always like, I want, like, it's the same thing with books. Like, so many people are like, I want to read it on the Kindle or I want to read it on
Yeah.
the tablet. And you know what I say to people all the time? And it's kind of funny, but I'm like, I want to feel that book in my hand. I want to
Yeah.
feel it. And I'm an amputee, right? I only have one hand, but I
Yeah.
still want to hold that book in my hand. Yes, they're ebooks and you can flip the screen and flip the screen, but there's no better sound than when you first open that book and you hear that noise, when it first opens and then you get to turn the page and turn the page. Like, things are being made so easy for us that people take things for granted. And yes, you can read a book on a tablet, but to me, it's not as authentic as in your hand and having
Mm,
that book right there, that you get more feeling from it. And the same thing now, what a great concept idea to send a letter that's just, let them have it, put it in the refrigerator, put it in your bathroom, put it,
yeah.
in the bathroom linen closet where you open it up and it's a reminder of how great you are. Just, something so simple. Like I put sticky notes all over my daughter's bathroom or in her bag or whatever. And it's just something that's so simple to remind you that you're validated and you're worth it and you're amazing and you should celebrate who you are. And
Yeah.
that is amazing. What an idea. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
amazing.
really excited about it.
Yeah, you should be.
And I mean, it takes a level of intentionality. Like I'm intentionally sitting down and putting together your peace pack for you, addressing it to you, and taking it to my, pardon me, taking it to my post office and sending it to you.
Right.
There's no there's no disconnect there. I am
Yeah.
intentionally sewing into your healing path.
Yes. I love it because we don't celebrate each other enough.
No.
It's all go, 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 go. And and you have your list of things to do, and list of things to do, and list of things to do. And it's like, where am I? We're so often forgotten and we forget ourselves more than anything, and
Yeah.
it's just in that minute. Like I decompress Emily every day. It's like my bath is my time. I take a shower in the morning, so people think that's crazy, but I take a shower in the morning and then at night I just want to decompress in the bathtub. I mean, with all the surgeries I've had and the injuries and stuff, I want to go in there and just decompress and just have 10 minutes where it's like I'm not here. I get thousands of emails and phone calls and text messages a day. And it's like, just, I don't want any electronics. Like when I'm out to dinner, there's no electronics at the table. If we're eating a meal as a family, there's no electronics at the table. But even then, it's like just 10 minutes for yourself. Right. And in that time, of course, I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to do this. I got to do this, this. But it's like you have to take care of yourself. And I'm just as guilty of it as you are, where we don't do that. We don't sit there and take that time. And what happens if we're not around? What happens if we're not here to take care of everybody else? We're the glue that holds everything together.
Yeah.
And it's like like the man cold is the perfect example. Like if they have a man cold, they're in bed for a month, not really, but at least a good week, and they're just, oh, I can't do anything. We could have a man cold, a cold, have the flu, have whatever, and we still go. We don't get time. We don't get downtime.
Yeah.
We need to be celebrating and supporting each other. We need to come together as a community and build each other up and support each other the best that we can and show up and be there. It's so important. Think how great everybody's lives would be if we just helped one another on a daily basis.
Yeah. And that's what I want Mamahood After Trauma to be.
You have done it and you're just expanding more and more. It's amazing. And I hope that you promise me when you do your 300th and 400th and 500th episode that maybe I can pop my head in for a minute and say hello and remind you of how proud I am of you. I mean, we talk when we're not doing recordings and stuff too, but like just to keep shining the light on who you are. I mean, you need to see that.
Yeah, I appreciate your love and support. It really means a lot.
Well,
Truly.
it's always there. It's always there. Absolutely. And people get to see who you really are and the person behind the name and everything you've endured, and you've only shared a snippet with your listeners, but if you listen to the snippet of what she's opened up and told you, there's so much more, and the strength that this woman has had to do what she does on a daily basis to help other people because she doesn't want you to go through what she's been through. My hat's off to you because there aren't a lot of people out there who do what we do. And people
No,
do it because if it's a paycheck or, they won't help you if you can't pay for it. And that's not authentic. You're not going to starve to death because you won't take on one new client, and you're not trauma. If you don't understand the trauma, please focus on something you do, right? Because
yeah,
you really can make such a huge difference in the way of someone's healing process just by the simplicity of words. And it's so
yeah,
critically important that if like you wouldn't go to a podiatrist if you had a brain bleed, right? You're not going to go to a foot
exactly.
doctor. So you need to go to someone who can understand and work with you to help you in your healing journey. And if you go to someone and you feel like there's not a connection and that maybe while they're supposedly listening, they're not like putting their grocery list in their head and surfing the net and surfing TikTok while you're listening or whatever, go find someone else. Go to Emily. She's amazing. Come to me. I'll send you to Emily. There's so many different things that are out there. There's classes that are out there. There's courses that are out there that will help people start in their healing journey because you are worth it and you deserve to be the best 2.0 version of yourself.
Absolutely. And I just want to say and let the record show that I I am not here doing the work that I'm doing for the paycheck. If I'm being fully transparent, I don't make enough to pay my own bills. My husband helps me.
Yeah, I don't either.
Um,
But in fairness, Emily,
I
not to cut you, we
I
both could go and do it and make that money, but we choose not to.
I have been there have been so many times over the last 4 or 5 years where I've thought, I need to make the money. I need to go find a job, a job that makes money. But I can't walk away from this because it's too important.
Right.
I could go get a teaching job. I could go back to the classroom. I was a full-time teacher. I taught grade 2 and grade 5 and all the grades really. But as impactful as the work teachers and educators do, and I respect them so much, they put up with so much, but that's not where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. And this work is too important for me to walk away. And so, friends, you got me, and I'm not going anywhere. I might show up a hot mess sometimes, but I'm not going anywhere.
But showing up as a hot mess is such a blessing too, because it shows everybody else that that's okay. The most important thing is you showed up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what counts.
yeah. So, whether you have been a listener since episode 1 in 2021, or you've tuned in sometime along the way, 2022, 2023, 2024, wherever you showed up on this journey in the last 200 episodes, thank you so much for being here. If you are listening and you have been a guest in the past, on either Rise and Shine with Emily C. or Mamahood After Trauma. Thank you. You are incredible human beings. And I couldn't be here if you didn't allow me to be. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of the journey. And friends, we're just getting started. So don't go anywhere.
Well, I can't wait to see what's coming up in the near future. You have my support. Anything you need, I'm here. And I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to share this unbelievably amazing milestone with you. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Victoria, for agreeing to be my guest host. Apologies, friends. This episode is about double what a normal guest episode is. So thank you. If you made it to the end of our hour long conversation, thank you for sticking it out. Um, thank you. Here's to 200 and 200 more, and we'll keep going. Thanks for listening to Mamahood After Trauma. If today's episode resonated with you, make sure to grab your Unlocking Peace guide from the link in the show notes to start your healing journey with practical tools. Remember, Mama, you're not alone in this. Together, we're mending the past so mamas can mama in peace. See you next time.